What's up, guys? Kamikaze Fox coming to you from IRL F1 2018 on the PS4 platform. This is round 13 of Season 5 here at Singapore. And we're still waiting for a few drivers to join in as we get ready to do a 18-minute qualifying session and then a 50% race here at Singapore for Season 5. So we'll go over some news and notes and a driver lineup as we continue to wait for the other drivers to join in. But Singapore, track position is always key. In real-life Formula 1, pole position very important. Not so much in IRL. The pole-to-win ratio here is only 25%. Previous pole sitters have been Jamie Broughton in Season 1, Kiki Malikish in Season 2, Peter Van Hag in Season 3, and then, of course, Matthew Alder back in Season 4 last year. But only one time has that made a difference, and that was last year, Season 4, where Matthew Alder walked away with the win. But previous winners in Season 1 was Neil Dolan. Cameron Weston Edwards went back-to-back in Season 2 and Season 3, and Alder, the only one to win from pole in IRL's history here at Singapore, back in Season 4 last year. But Season 1 was really probably one of the more infamous IRL races. An incredible battle between the Ferrari teammates of Cameron Weston Edwards and Kiki Malikish, as they were 30 seconds ahead of the rest of the pack with 4 laps to go. When Singapore, rain is always a factor. With 4 laps to go, it suddenly burst. The skies opened up and the rains came down, and Malikish had actually spun at the turn 4 kink. Cameron Weston Edwards came around the corner, had no place to go, and crashed into him. John Hooft and Marco Toldini were behind him, and it was just a massive melee at the Season 1. So Neil Dolan and Sam White, they were the 2 drivers at that point in time that had pitted in for intermediates and stormed their way through the field in the closing laps. Dylan stole the win on the last lap, while Sam White took his only career podium with IRL and finished in second place. Obviously, Sam White's not with us anymore, but rain's been a factor here twice. That was obviously Season 1, and then last year was also an issue. But Alder easily walked away with the win last year. There's only going to be a couple of podium finishers from previous races on the grid with us today. That's going to be Sondre Sorhaug and Felix Negwer. They're the only 2 that have finished on the podium here before in IRL. Sorhaug finished 3rd in Season 3. Felix Negwer took home 2nd place last year next to Matthew Alder. And then, as we talked earlier, Season 1, Neil Dolan, Samuel White, and John Hooft were your podium finishers. Season 2, it was Cameron Weston Edwards, John Hooft, Kiki Malikish. And then Season 3, again, Cameron Weston Edwards walked away with the win. Gavin Parker took 2nd. Sondre picked up his podium. Last year it was Alder, Negwer, and Cameron Weston Edwards. As it looks like we're getting ready to... We're still waiting for a couple other drivers. So we'll talk about tire strategy today. And obviously, tire overheating has always been an issue here in Singapore, even in real life. The temperatures are high, the race is long, the rears get worn out really quick. So tire temperature is going to be a factor. Guys that are able to use the steering wheel versus the pad are probably going to have a little bit more of an advantage to, transition the throttle response a little less aggressively, so that might help. But the optimum strategy is probably going to be to run ultra softs to softs, make a one-stop strategy if you can get the tires to last. Ultras, depending on how aggressive you're being with the throttle, you're looking anywhere from 10 to 16 laps, where softs you might be able to get 20 to 28. But again, tire temperatures are going to be a huge factor. So we'll see how that plays out. We're going to run down the driver line. It looks like we've got a small field today, unfortunately. It looks like 2, 4, 6, maybe 12 drivers. So we'll see how that plays out. There's the one thing I can say about IRL racing is that it's not about the quantity of drivers, it's about the quality. And the quality of racing this year has been on point. 12 drivers. Run down the driver list. It looks like we've got Darian Sinclair, Sondre Sorhaug, Aaron Collingwood, Gabriel Ryan, Lee Kelly from F2, Jorge Correa, Felix Negwer, Tyler Rhodes, Jay Drawbridge, Brandon Glover, Samuel Nazar, and Alexander Bastos. And you may notice one of the big names missing there is Jack Hoyle, who is your championship points leader by a large margin. So this is good news for Felix Negwer, who's second in the championship. It's also good news for Jay Drawbridge, who's trying to be a championship contender, but he's had some misfortune here a couple of times this year. So coming off the previous round, round 12 at Sochi, Jay Drawbridge did walk away with his 5th pole position of the year. Unfortunately, he also walked away with his 4th DNF as he crashed, and this time under his own accord. Jack Hoyle walked away with his 5th win last time out. Aaron Collingwood picked up his 5th podium in 2nd. Gabriel Ryan had a great run, finishing 3rd, picking up his 3rd podium of the year. Darren Sinclair finished 4th last round. That was good for him. He's new to the league. He crashed out, I believe, in his debut at round 11 in China, but good points day for him. Brandon Glover came home 5th last time out. Felix Negwer came home 6th. Adrian Storm was 7th. Tyler Rhodes was 8th. Alexander Bastos came home 9th, so it was a points finish for him after having 2 DNFs in a row the previous 2 rounds at China and Abu Dhabi. And then rounding out your top 10 points making positions last time out at Sochi was Saba Siktum, who is not on the grid today. Drivers 11 through 17 last round all picked up DNFs. And that was Vilay Himalayan, Jorge Correa, Ken Bill, Sondre Sorhaug, Samuel Nazar, who's also new to the league. That was his 2nd race with IRL. Picked up his first DNF. Jay Drawbridge and Joshua Dangle, who picked up his first DNF of the year. As you see some of the cars finally heading out on the track for their outlap. This is Aaron Collingwood in the Scuderia Ferrari. Collingwood's got 1 win on the year, 5 podiums. In fact, he won back in round 11 in China. And Brandon Glover's already picked up a 5-place grid penalty for contact with Samuel Nazar on his outlap. So that is very unfortunate for him. Glover had a little bit of a topsy-turvy year so far. He's got 2 podiums on the year. The last one he had was back at round 9 in Monza. He's got 1 pole position on the year. That was round 7 in Hungary. You see he just hits the wall coming out of that corner. Pick up Aaron Collingwood. Looks like he's going to be probably the first driver to run a hot lap. Collingwood, a little bit of a controversial win back at round 11 in China. He had made contact with Jay Drawbridge and basically took Drawbridge out. I mean, it wasn't, I don't think it was anything malice. It was hard racing, tight racing. There could have been a desynchronization issue with the internet. Either way, Collingwood pushed Drawbridge off the track. Now, Drawbridge did something a little intelligent. He didn't report the incident to the steward, so therefore there was no investigation for a penalty. The reason he did that is because Collingwood would have been penalized and it would have handed the win over to Jack Hoyle, extending his championship points lead. So he didn't do it to try and save face to keep Hoyle from getting those few extra points. And with Hoyle out of the race today, who yet to show up, that could ultimately be a factor later in the season. And Tyler Rhodes sets the first lap at a 1:36.150. Collingwood comes across the line with a 1:37.0, so he's a second off the pace. And runs very wide heading into turn 1, and he's going to call that a day. We pick up Darren Sinclair, the factory Renault. Lee Kelly sets the time, 1:38.467. He does the IRL F2 race. They raced yesterday. If anybody wants to check that out, you can look it up on the YouTube channel here. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment to the YouTube channel for IRL, International Racing League. Continue to watch Darren Sinclair run Down the last few corners of this track here. Oh, and he just brushes the wall coming out of that corner. Looks like he's going to be a little bit off the pace. 1:35.028, and it looks like his lap time might have been invalidated because of cutting the corner and some wall contact. Jorge Correa has set a time at a 1:39.931. Got Sondre Sorhaug in the Toro Rosso. And Jay Drawbridge is coming over the radio saying he doesn't have any DRS on his car. He's in the pits. That could be interesting. And Sondre Sorhaug coming across the line to start his first hot lap. Now, DRS is not... Oh, and he almost loses the back end trying to get that power down. And DRS is not a huge advantage here. And you see the DRS slot open here through the dog leg. That's the longest straight. Actually, I think that might be the second longest straight. The straightaways here are not hurting. I mean, the cars get up to speed, but there's just not. They're not far enough to make a time advantage. The front stretch is very short. The other DRS zone is kind of short as well. So DRS, not too big of an advantage here, so it might not be much of a problem for Jay Drawbridge. Looks like he's on his out lap now. We'll keep track of him. He does lead the league this year with pole positions. As I said earlier, he had 5 on the year. We continue to watch Sondre Sorhaug get a little tail happy with his Toro Rosso. Looks like he's going to be a little bit off the pace as well. He's going to come across the line. 1:39.031, so that's good enough for 6th as of now. Pick up Jay Drawbridge. So Tyler Rhodes is still your provisional pole sitter with 10 minutes left to play in the session. And by considerable margin, he's the only driver to break into the 136s and did it in spectacular fashion, going 9/10 of a second quicker than Aaron Collingwood. Here comes Drawbridge across the line to start his first hot lap of the day. Looks like he's got his DRS fixed. The slot was open. Ooh, struggled with grip there a little bit in that first corner, that 1-2 sector. And it looks like he's probably off the pace. Sounds like. I think he knows he blew that 1-2 complex. There is a possibility he may be short shifting, but I very seriously doubt it. Pick up Collingwood, see where Collingwood is at. Currently in Sector 1. Go back to Drawbridge. Looks like he's going to reset for another hot lap. We'll pick up Collingwood. Collingwood is on a hot lap. Ooh, big slide there coming out of that corner. Looks like he might have brushed the wall just a little bit. So you see Jay Drawbridge has just posted the time of 1:41.640. So he definitely was off the pace after the 1-2 complex where he lost grip. Brandon Glover jumps to third quickest, but that's going to be with the five grid penalty. 5-spot grid penalty. Let me try that one more time. 5-spot grid penalty, that would drop him to 8th as of right now. Collingwood coming around to finish this lap here, and he slaps the wall, breaks the front wing. See what kind of time he gets in. He runs very wide coming out of there, and he's 137.115. Not sure if he would have had anything, and he broke the end plate off of the front wing. So we're going to pick up Jay Drawbridge. And it looks like Drawbridge has given up on this lap as well. So 137 left to play. The only two drivers that have yet to set a time is Darren Sinclair. Looks like he's getting ready to come around and start a hot lap. And Felix Negwer, looks like he's coming across the line now, 137.664. That's good enough for 5th so far. So Darren Sinclair, the only driver to not set a time. He made his debut back at round 11 in China. Unfortunately, came home 15th with a DNF. Came back last round and finished 4th at Sochi. Even contended for the lead for a little while, so he put in a really good effort last time out. Keep tabs on him as the time continues to wind down here. 6 minutes left to play in the session. And so far, nobody has anything for Tyler Rhodes' 136.150. You see, that's the Mercedes there of Brandon Glover getting out of the way of Sinclair as he's on a hot lap. Tries to get the power down the back end, kicks out on him. Oh, and he hits the wall coming out of there. Slaps the right side tires against the wall. That might cost him a little bit of time. Almost did the same thing there with the left side. And Tyler Rhodes just went 135.7, and Darren Sinclair out of nowhere 134.243. So Darren Sinclair has the answer to Tyler Rhodes, and I thought 136.1 was fast. Rhodes went 135.7, and then Darren Sinclair went 134.243. Those times obviously set on the hypers. So the times are dropping, as is the countdown. 4:30 left to play in the session. And Jay Drawbridge, currently slowest car. Looks like he's going to take his chance with the Ultra Softs. The purple banded Pirellis on the McLaren. Drawbridge is currently on his out lap. Looks like he's got one of the Force Indias. That would be Alexander Bastos. Drawbridge now slowing down, trying to give himself a little bit of separation between him and Alexander Bastos. Definitely doesn't want traffic to be a factor on this hot lap. Here goes Drawbridge, going to start a hot lap. And a caution in sector 1. So Drawbridge starting his hot lap now. 3 minutes left to play in the session, so he'll come across the line with enough time to run a second lap if he needs to. Now, Drawbridge is definitely one of the drivers that uses a pad. He's made that known in the past. And he runs an incredible pace for somebody that uses the pad. Struggling so far today, obviously with tire temperatures. We talked about that at the beginning of qualifying session, that would probably be an issue. And he's got a lot of pressure on him. I would think today he definitely wants to try and put some points on the board. Jack Hoyle is not here, so it would be a great opportunity for him to try and maximize that, get as many points as possible. And it looks like he has given up on this lap as well. And Drawbridge is looking for the perfect lap, and I think Drawbridge really just needs to set a better time to put himself in a better position beginning of this race. 2 minutes left to play. He'll definitely come across the line with time to spare. I'm going to pick up Samuel Nazar and talk about him real quick because he just went 1:36.694 to go third quickest. Good time from him. We're going to go back to Collingwood. Looks like Collingwood is coming up on the backside of Jay Drawbridge's McLaren. That might have been Tyler Rhodes on his outlap. And Alexander Bostos just went fourth quickest with a 1:36.8. So the times are dropping. Collingwood now. Collingwood, historically, from what I can tell, would be the fastest driver of the top 5, considering their finishing positions. But Samuel Nazar, Alexander Bostos, Tyler Rhodes, Darren Sinclair, they're all relatively new to IRL. Tyler Rhodes was actually one of the F2 drivers earlier in the year. Got the call up to do F1 recently. Putting in a really good effort today with a 1:35.7. Darren Sinclair, this is only his third race in the F1 series for IRL. 1:34.2, the only driver to break into the 1:34s, and by a large margin. Collingwood tried to set a couple of times earlier on the soft tires. He couldn't muster anything better than the 1:37 flat. Coming around to the backside, looks like he's on good pace to set a good time this time around. 1:35.0, that's good enough for second place. And Collingwood calls it a day. We're going to go back to Jay Drawbridge and see where he's at. He's currently 4 seconds up on his previous time. That would put him in the 1:37s. Oh, it looks like he just smacked the wall with the left side tires there. Coming around to finish out this lap. Very close to touching that right side tire. Last ditch effort by Jay Drawbridge. 1:34.605. Second place. Drops Collingwood to third. Tyler Rhodes is currently fourth quickest. Looks like he's pulled off. He's done for the day. Blew the last corner. Alexander Bostos, he's up on his previous time. Brandon Glover's time is locked in. Lee Kelly just went fourth quickest. We're going to stick with Alexander Bostos. He was up on his time by a 10th at the first sector. And it looks like he might be calling it a day. I'm trying to tell if he's off the pace or not. Looks like that's one of the McLarens there getting out of the way. Oh, and look at Darren Sinclair, just to put a staple on it. He already had pole position, but he just went 1:33.596, just to jam another knuckle in the back of the competition. Bostos did the last couple of sets of corners here. Last man on track. And Bostos is off pace. He'll call it a day. So that is your roundup for qualifying. Unbelievable time by Darren Sinclair. Jay Drawbridge managed to get second quickest. for the time to wind down. So here's your starting order. Darren Sinclair, Jay Drawbridge, Aaron Collingwood, Lee Kelly, and we'll show you the rest here in a second. Don't forget, Brandon Glover's got the 5-spot grid penalty for contact with Samuel Nazar on his outlap. So Darren Sinclair, Jay Drawbridge, Aaron Collingwood, Lee Kelly with a good qualifying effort, Tyler Rhodes, Felix Negwer, Brandon Glover 7th, Alexander Bastos 8th, Samuel Nazar 9th, Sondre Sorhaug is 10th, Gabriel Ryan struggled for grip, he's 11th, and Jorge Correa starting at the back in 12th. So we get ready for the grid set, and we'll do a formation lap and a 50% race. This has turned out to be quite an exhilarating last closing moments of the qualifying session. Darren Sinclair sets an incredible time, and he didn't even need to set because Drawbridge wasn't going to be able to match the 134 that Darren Sinclair had already set, but he went 133.6, incredible lap. But as they say, qualifying pace is different than race pace, and Singapore has a history of rain here. 2 out of the 4 races have had rain, and as always, the safety car can always be an issue in the narrow streets of Singapore. So we wait for things to load in. So congratulations to Darren Sinclair picking up his first pole position for IRL. As we wait for everybody to load in. Got some more people chiming in on the live chat. Looks like we've got Callum Anderson and Lewis Marshall chiming in. Start the formation lap. Marshall rooting for Aaron Collingwood, and Anderson cheering on Sondre Sorhaug. So here's your starting grid once more. Darren Sinclair picking up his first pole position in IRL for him on his 3rd race. He finished 4th last time out. He'll be looking to add to his points for sure. Jay Drawbridge will be starting 2nd. He'll be looking to close in that championship points gap to Jack Hoyle, since Jack Hoyle is not on the field today. And Aaron Collingwood will be looking to pick up his 2nd win of the year and add to his podium total. Lee Kelly gets the call up from F2. He'll be looking to put some points on the board for Toro Rosso. Tyler Rhodes, can he be player 2? Can he be driver 2? Driver B, however you want to put it, on the McLaren team and help his teammate Jay Drawbridge close in that points gap to Jack Hoyle. And Felix Negwer, who is 2nd in the points, he has struggled as of late. He'll be looking to try and find his way back to the podium today. And Alexander Bastos, coming off a 9th place finish last time out, wants to put some more points on the board after having 2 DNFs in a row at rounds 10 and 11 at Abu Dhabi and China. Samuel Nazar, he made his debut with a 5th place run at China round 11, but unfortunately picked up a DNF last time out. We look to put some points on the board as well. Sondre Sorhaug, always a fan favorite. He'll be looking to set the fastest lap as always, and he'll be looking to put some points on the board for sure. And Gabriel Ryan with a disappointing qualifying effort. He'll be looking to try and pick up his 4th podium of the year, starting 10th. Jorge Correa will be looking to see what kind of race strategy he wants to play today, see if he can work his way into the points. Brandon Glover's dropped to 12th because of his 5th-place grid penalty. He'll be looking to try and work his way through the field. And Louis Quinlan, who didn't make it for qualifying, has made it for the race. He'll be looking to just finish a race, as he had a rash of DNFs to kickstart this year. So Quinlan, it's his first race in quite a few weeks. He'll be looking to at least put some points on the board. And with only 13 drivers today, everybody's got a good chance of putting some points on the board. Could this be a race of attrition? 5 lights. We wait for him to go out. Lights out. Time to run what you brung. Looks like a good start Jay Drawbridge to the front, tries to get to the inside of Darren Sinclair. Sinclair comes around the outside of turn 3. Not going to be able to make it work, and Drawbridge off and running. Sinclair tucks back in behind him. Oh, and look at this. Felix Negwer slides coming around that corner. Sinclair making a move to the inside of Drawbridge. He's going to retake the lead. Drawbridge had it for a moment, and now he's coming under attack from Aaron Collingwood to the inside. Drawbridge is going to have the more preferred line on the next set of corners, and there's his teammate Tyler Rhodes starting to creep into the picture. Collingwood weaving back and forth. We've got a caution in Sector 2. Looks like that might have been something to do with Alexander Bastos. He's very slow and off the pace. And back to the battle for second now, because it looks like Darren Sinclair has gapped these two cars almost by a second already. And you see this, look at this, Lee Kelly has managed to get his way up to 4th around Tyler Rhodes. Starting to get a little bit of separation between some of the drivers. Collingwood has fallen off the pace a little bit to Drawbridge by about half a second. And it has been a manic opening lap. Drawbridge trying to reel in Darren Sinclair. And we have finished the first manic lap of the Singapore Grand Prix. Continue to watch these top three. We've got a caution in Sector 3. Louis Quinlan is headed into the pits. Moved his way up to 12th. Probably picked up a little bit of wing damage. The streets are narrow. The race is hot. The heat is hot. And look at this. Lee Kelly gets past. Oh, looks like he's going to lose 2 positions. Tyler Rhodes got around him. Oh, we've got a 4-way battle here for position. That's Tyler Rhodes, Lee Kelly, Felix Negwer, Samuel Nazar, and Gabriel Ryan showing up into the picture. Kelly to the inside. This is turning into a 4 or 5 car battle for essentially the 4th spot. Oh, and a good move by Lee Kelly as he gets the power down. Looks like Rhodes went into the corner a little hot, and the car pushed wide. Rhodes again tried to make a move to the inside of the next set of corners. Not going to get there. Felix Negwer's all over the gearbox of Rhodes' McLaren. Through the S's. And nothing is changing up towards the top of the charts, just so you know. Darren Sinclair is still your leader. Jay Drawbridge over half a second behind him. KLC's lost touch with... And KLC, that should be Aaron Collingwood, has lost touch with Jay Drawbridge. We see a little bit of a position change here. Tyler Rhodes heads into the pits. And Tyler Rhodes has left the session. And putting a new wing on the car, do a tire change, and Rhodes has left. I'm not sure if that's a rage quit or internet connection, but Tyler Rhodes will not be a factor as we pick up Lee Kelly being pursued by Felix Negwer. So this is still the battle for 4th. 4th, 5th, and 6th. That is Lee Kelly, Felix Negwer, and Samuel Nazar. Hop on board with Negwer. You can hear how gentle he's being with the throttle input, trying to roll that car through the corner as opposed to powering it through the corner. So he's trying to let it roll, just let them tires stay at a constant temp. He doesn't want to overheat them. Good run, locks up the left front. Really hard track to pass on. Negwer is so close to the back of Lee Kelly's Toro Rosso. Negwer with an incredible run. Can he use the DRS and get down to the inside of Kelly? He's going to make the move. And Lee Kelly loses out on the 4th position. Felix Negwer up to 4th. And a 3-second time penalty for Sondre Sorhaug. He's the first driver of what I can only assume is going to be many to pick up a time penalty. And it looks like Negwer is going to try and gap himself a little bit. Side by side, this is Samuel Nazar getting by Lee Kelly, and Gabriel Ryan right behind him. Meanwhile, nothing's changed in the front. Darren Sinclair still leads the race on lap 4. He's 0.8 of a second over Jay Drawbridge. Aaron Collingwood has fallen off the pace, 4 seconds behind Jay Drawbridge in 3rd position. And then when you go 6.5 seconds back, you pick up this battle here. 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th, and 8th. Negwer has started to separate himself from this battle. He's pulled over almost a second gap on Samuel Nazar. Nazar's pulled out over Lee Kelly. So the battle is now for 6th between Lee Kelly and Gabriel Ryan. Continue to monitor the time distance between Jay Drawbridge and Darren Sinclair. Oh, and Kelly looks like he's struggling. He popped over that curb a little bit to the inside. Gabriel Ryan, he's going to cut that corner very close. Oh, Kelly runs wide, loses the back end, and he's into the barrier. Lee Kelly done for the day. Unfortunate turn of events for Lee Kelly. He was having such a good run, running mid-pack with everybody. Gabriel Ryan cut that one corner, and we've got a virtual safety car because of that, and this is an inopportune time. Jay Drawbridge now 2.5 seconds off the pace from Darren Sinclair. So virtual safety car out because of Lee Kelly's accident. Gabriel Ryan was making the pass on him, cut that second to the last corner really tight, probably got a warning for corner cutting. Kelly lost the back end as he was on the outside and in the paint, the painted off area. Lost the back end and it swept around on him. Into the barrier he went, done for the day. And Lee Kelly has officially left the session, and we are green again. DRS slot open, and here is the battle for the lead. Jay Drawbridge within a half a second of striking distance of Darren Sinclair after the safety car, virtual safety car I should say. Oh, and he just brushes the wall coming out of that corner. Oh, and another slap of the right side. Drawbridge is going to have to be careful. He's trying to use all the track, but he's using a little too much of it. He slapped the right side tires against the wall twice that lap. The car can only take that for so long. A 3-second time penalty picked up by Samuel Nazar. So here, this is going to be a battle of tire strategy here. It looks like you've got Darren Sinclair, who is on the Hypersofts. Jay Drawbridge, who is on the Ultras. The Ultras should last a little longer. We talked about that earlier in the race than the Hypers. And with tire temperatures being such a factor here, Darren Sinclair takes a real risk running the Hypers to begin with. He set that incredible time in qualifying to pick up the pole position. But Hypers are not going to last as long as the Ultras. However, that being said, on the flip side of that coin, and I don't know about Darren Sinclair if he's a wheel driver or a pad driver, that being said, if he's a wheel driver, he'll be able to conserve those tire temps a little easier than Jay Drawbridge, who's a pad driver. He's going to be hard on the throttle. Not as easily to modulate the throttle getting back on the gas with the pad as you are with the wheel. And if Drawbridge is anything like me, I use a more traditional setup in my gaming systems for racing, so I don't use the triggers for gas and brake. I use X and square, gas and brake. I use R2 and L2 to gear up and gear down because I like using a manual gearbox. So if Drawbridge is using anything like that setup, X is go or no. And you see Darren Sinclair dives into the pits. We were just talking about how long his tires would last. So Drawbridge is going to take the lead of this race. Here comes Aaron Collingwood. He's going to be able to take over the second spot. Felix Negwer is going to be able to take over the third spot. So how far down the list does Sinclair fall? Looks like he's just left. Pit stop delta here is about 23 seconds. So this is going to drop him mid-pack. But he's the first driver to make a pit stop. It looks like he's going to switch over to softs. And he may try to run them all the way to the end of the race. And he is all the way back to 9th. The closest battle on track right now is going to be between Brandon Glover and Gabriel Ryan. Ryan, who qualified in the 11th spot, I believe it was, and Brandon Glover, who was dropped from 7th to 12th because of contact with Sandy Nazar during qualifying. Both putting in a good effort here to get the mid-pack with some points on the board. Closest battle on track. Get a little bit of separation now between the cars, which isn't that uncommon here in Singapore. Looks like Glover struggling to get the power down with some grip there. Went very wide in that corner. We've also got a battle behind them between Jorge Correa and Sondre Sorhaug. They're less than a second apart from each other. That's the battle for 7th. Alexander Bastos has closed in on Louis Quinlan, so he'll pick up that position fairly easily. Looks like Jay Drawbridge has headed into the pits. That's going to drop him through the field. That's going to hand the lead over to Aaron Collingwood in the Ferrari. Moves Felix Negwer into 2nd. So now the battle for 5th has become the battle for 3rd. Between Brandon Glover and Gabriel Ryan. Meanwhile, Darren Sinclair is making his way back through the field. He's going to get in underneath of Sondre Sorhaug and take the 6th position away and start to set his sights on Jorge Correa for 5th. Meanwhile, Brandon Glover is still working on the backside of Gabriel Ryan. Question's going to become who's going to pit first, or they pit at the same time. A lot of these guys are going to run the one-stop strategy, ultras to softs. But again, tire temperatures are going to be such a factor. Darren Sinclair pitted relatively early. He did start the race on hypers, but he did pit relatively early to run the softs. There's a possibility that Sinclair is going to run the softs, possibly switch back over to a 2-stop to run hypers or ultras at the end of this race, but I can't imagine the softs. He's going to be able to run this whole race without losing any type of grip and pace towards the end of it. And now we've got Gabriel Ryan heading into the pits, so Brandon Glover picks up the 3rd position. Darren Sinclair on the inside of Felix Negwer and Jay Drawbridge on the inside of Sondre. Drawbridge is also on the softs. However, he's going to be a couple laps fresher, and it's a 3-second time penalty is picked up by Jorge Correa. You see the gap there. There goes Sinclair. Here comes Drawbridge. That's essentially the battle for the lead right now. Gabriel Ryan pits, comes back out in 9th. Collingwood has yet to pit. He's on ultras. 2.5 seconds ahead of Felix Negwer. And Collingwood losing a little bit of time. just under 2.5 seconds. Darren Sinclair has closed the gap to Brandon Glover, and Jay Drawbridge has closed the gap to Jorge Correa. See Sinclair making the move on Glover now to pick up that third spot. And Drawbridge does the same at the same corner, so these two are working their way back through the field. Felix Negwer, though, he's actually closing the gap down to Aaron Collingwood. Collingwood started off really strong in the opening 3 laps, and then after that fell off the pace a little bit. Not sure if he was trying to conserve the tires or if they started to overheat and had to back off, but lost a lot of pace in comparison to Darren Sinclair and Jay Drawbridge. Those two went lap for lap in tow with each other. Until Sinclair decided to pit early. That handed the lead over to Jay Drawbridge, and then he pitted a couple laps later to pick up the softs. Drawbridge has now worked his way around Brandon Glover, pick up the 4th spot. And Collingwood has lost a lot of time in the past couple laps here to Felix Negwer. That was almost a 3-second lead a couple laps ago. So Collingwood either being very conservative with his tires, or he's struggling for grip like mad. We'll see if he pits this time by. That's 10 laps on the Ultras. And it is now under a second, so Felix Negwer would have the DRS advantage. Very little advantage here at Singapore because the straightaways are so short. But that being said, does Collingwood pit this time by? And it doesn't. Yep, he's going to pit this time by. Hands the lead over to Felix Negwer. And here comes Darren Sinclair and Jay Drawbridge. That is essentially going to be your battle for the lead. So realistically, because Negwer hasn't pitted, Sinclair is going to be your leader. And he's about 1.5 2 seconds over Jay Drawbridge. You see Sinclair there. Actually a 3-second gap between second and third, which is going to turn into first and second when Felix Negwer finally decides to pit. And Negwer, as we said, second in the point standings. He could really use a good finishing point today. Oh no, and Jorge Correa, caution in sector 2. He was running 6th. Where is his car? You see it there. Looks like he took that corner too wide, broke the left front suspension, hitting the wall. So Correa is done for the day. You pick up Alexander Bastos, who is on the backside of Tyler Rhodes. This is essentially going to be the battle for 9th. Jorge Correa's broken car there. And Rhodes has now separated himself from Bastos a little bit. Looks like Felix Negwer's finally headed into the pits. As does Brandon Glover. As does Sondre Sorhaug. So this could be some good news for Negwer. Swapping over to the softs. Where's Collingwood? Collingwood is coming around now. Can Collingwood... It's going to be close. Collingwood is going to pick up the 3rd position over Felix Negwer. Negwer's just leaving the pits now. It looks like Samuel Nazar's going to get by him too. Oh, he just got out in front of Felix Negwer. So I don't think that was how Negwer planned that. I think he was probably hoping to come out in front of Collingwood. Lost out to that and just lost out to Samuel Nazar. Nazar was putting in a heck of a lap there and just squeezed out in front of him at the turn 1-2 complex. Right now there's a 3.5 second gap between Darren Sinclair and Jay Drawbridge in the battle of supremacy during this race here for first. We're watching the battle for fourth. This is Samuel Nazar and Felix Negwer. Just saw Negwer come out of the pits. And Felix Negwer, he started off really strong this year. He is your defending series champion from last year. He picked up his first win. He was driver of the day back in round 1 in Canada. He had a third place finish in round 2 at Coda. He was 5th in Mexico, and he ended up becoming 5th because he actually finished the race 2nd in Mexico, but because of 18 seconds worth of time penalties and quarter cutting, he came home 5th that day. So close to trying to get by here in Samuel Nazar. He actually he had a DNF in round 4 in Catalonia, and then came back and picked up his second win of the year at the Paul Ricard. So that kind of put him back in championship contention. Tries to make the move to the outside. It's not going to be able to make it work. Samuel Nazar's not making this easy. He's on the inside of the next corner. Nazar's going to try a crossover move. Looks to get the power down. And a 3-second time penalty for Samuel Nazar for that. And Negwer does pick up the 4th spot. Negwer trying to maximize the points that he can since Jack Hoyle's not here. Aaron Collingwood has just picked up a 3-second time penalty as well. So, back to Negwer's records for the year. He was nowhere to be found in round 6, and Rick missed that race. Came back to finish 5th at Hungary. He was 3rd in Austria, picked up his 4th podium of the year. 5th at Monza. 4th in round 10 in Abu Dhabi. He was 8th at China. And then he was 6th last round, so he started off strong, just kind of petered off a little bit. And Jack Hoyle, who missed the first couple of rounds, when he joined, Jack Hoyle immediately went on a tear. I mean, to his credit, he's got 9 podiums this year. 5 of them being wins. And Louis Quinlan now has left the session. Looks like he would be done for the day. That's going to be another DNF for Louis Quinlan. And Quinlan, unfortunately, his season has not gone at all the way that he wanted to. Quinlan had a rash of DNFs at the beginning of the year. Unfortunately, he was having problems with his wheel at the beginning of the year, and we've got another virtual safety car because of it. But when the season started, Quinlan was having issues with his wheel. He was excited about Christmas. He was getting a new wheel for Christmas. He was going to rejoin the league. He took a little bit of a sabbatical. He was going to rejoin the league in January, and he rejoined the league. And unfortunately, he rejoined the league at round 7 at Hungary. New year, new wheel, same result. He had a DNF, finished 15th. That was his 4th DNF of the year. And then we haven't seen him for a couple rounds. And then, unfortunately, he's back, and he picks up another DNF here today. So 10 cars remaining, which is semi-good news for the drivers that are remaining. We are back to green DRS is enabled. So it looks like all 10 cars that are remaining will gain some points. I'll have to check the rules and regulations, though. Because Tyler Rhodes left the session earlier in the race. And I'm not sure if his car is AI or if he's rejoined. I don't remember seeing a note saying that he rejoined the race. His pace has been fairly good, though. But if that's the case, if the car's AI and Rhodes is not here and the car finishes in the points, I will have to double check with the rules and regulations. I don't think Rhodes gets credit for those points since he didn't complete 50% of the race. Meanwhile, the cars are all pretty much spread apart at this point. We're about reaching the halfway point of this race, 15 of 31. Darren Sinclair is your leader, 4 seconds ahead of Jay Drawbridge. Aaron Collingwood is currently running third. Felix Negwer has secured the 4th position away from Samuel Nazar. Gabriel Ryan is in 6th. Brandon Glover is 7th. Sondre Sorhaug is 8th. Tyler Rhodes, we just talked about him, is 9th. And Alexander Bastos currently running in 10th. So the cars are spread out now. What's been a little bit of a hectic Singapore Grand Prix. We started with 13 cars. We've now lost 3 of them. Looks like after Singapore, we'll be back next week for Bahrain, which should be an interesting race. As we continue to watch Sinclair gap the field, it's now 4.3 seconds ahead of Jay Drawbridge. And Drawbridge has had a very topsy-turvy year as well. He did pick up his first win at round 2 at COTA. Unfortunately, he had a DNF the very first round in Canada, and that was a disconnect. That was likely a rage quit at the time. He was involved in a 3-way battle at turn 1 in Canada and got taken out. That was the first time he had gotten taken out during the year. Quit that race, but came back very strong in COTA to walk away with the win. That was his first win that he would pick up. And then in round 3 in Mexico, he would pick up his second win of the year. And also pick up his first pole position. And it should be noted that it was round 4 that Jarvis picked up his 3rd straight podium. Obviously the 2 wins, and then he finished 3rd in Catalunya. Aaron Collingwood had picked up his first pole position of the year, and that was when Jack Hoyle had joined the league. And Jack Hoyle had picked up his first of what would be many wins. We're actually going to talk about Jack here a little bit more in a minute. But Drawbridge back at the French Grand Prix, that was essentially his second DNF of the year. Actually, that was his first official DNF because the disconnect, the car was not DNF. The car continued to roll on. So his first DNF of the year came in round 5 of the French Grand Prix. And he ended up finishing 4th in round 6. Finished 6th back in round 7 in Hungary. And then in Austria, he got into another melee, unfortunately, during an intense battle after a safety car. I think the safety car had come out due to debris. Working lap 18 of 31. But yeah, he was caught up in a melee in Austria. That was the second time he had gotten called out. See the gap there? It was Darren Sinclair going by, almost 5-second gap. Round 9, Jay Drawbridge managed to finish 2nd in Monza. Comes back to finish third in Abu Dhabi in round 10. Then runs into another issue in China. That was where we had talked about earlier, where Collingwood had actually taken him out of the race. Might have been incidental contact. I don't think there was any malice there behind it. But nonetheless, Collingwood took out Drawbridge, but Drawbridge never reported it for a penalty to keep Jack Hoyle from getting any more points. And then last time out at Sochi, Drawbridge crashed the first time this year. He crashed under his own accord. He didn't have any help. He was actually out running first or second, I believe, at the time when he had the wreck. So it's been a little topsy-turvy for Drawbridge. He's third in the point standings this year. And would love to put as many points on the board as possible since Jack Hoyle is not here. Now, the rumor mill has it that Jack Hoyle isn't here because he may be leaving IRL to go join the ILR, which is International League Racing as opposed to the International Racing League. ILR, some people are going to probably be a little bit more familiar with than IRL. It's a bigger league. Again, they've got a YouTube channel, website. They're one of the major players. ILR, PSGL, I think is the other one. They're a couple of the heavy hitters, which can make life a little difficult for the little guys like SRL and IRL that I commentate for. But the rumor mill has it that Jack is possibly considering leaving the IRL for the ILR, and because the race times are relatively close to each other, it would be hard for Jack to run back-to-back races because ILR starts almost immediately after IRL ends. So, that's the rumor mill, and I'm being corrected. ILR is Inside Line Racing. International League Racing sounds better, so I like my moniker. But Inside Line Racing, ILR. Jack may be leaving IRL for. So that being said, if that's the case, that would open up the championship to the battle between Jay Drawbridge and Felix Negwer if Hoyle decides to leave and not come back. But that's the rumor mill. I haven't heard any official word from Jack or the president of IRL just yet. So look for that in the coming weeks. I guess I was corrected. It is Inside Line Racing, but still International League Racing sounds better. Inside Line Racing, there's also an SLR to counterpart SRL. SLR is Straight Line Racing, as opposed to the Sandro Racing League. You can also check out SRL and IRL, both things I commentate for. But be sure to like, subscribe, and comment to the IRL YouTube channel and check them out online, International Racing League-IRL.com. So continue to watch Jay Drawbridge make his rounds in pursuit of Darren Sinclair. And it looks like Alexander Bastos has finally gotten around the AI car of Tyler Rhodes, who quit earlier in this race. Unfortunately, the cars are a little bit spread out. Sinclair's your leader by 5.5 plus seconds over Jay Drawbridge. Aaron Collingwood is 20 seconds behind him. Hugo's 6.8 seconds behind that. You're going to pick up Felix Negwer. And another 7 seconds behind him is Samuel Nazar. 7 seconds behind him is Gabriel Ryan, who's being pursued by Brandon Glover in 7th. Sondre Sorhaug is 44 seconds behind Glover in 8th. And Alexander Bastos is currently running 9th. And you saw, oh no, and that's Tyler Rhodes. His car is going DNF. And there was, Darren Sinclair was just trying to get around him. So did the AI car crash by itself, or did it have help from Darren Sinclair? Trying to see if you can pick up the damage anywhere. Don't see it on Collingwood, as I'm sure he's made it through whatever debris it was. So Tyler Rhodes' car is done for the day, and I do not believe he will receive any points, even though the car will finish 10th. So 9 cars remaining in the Singapore Grand Prix with 10 laps to go. And Sinclair, I'm wondering if he had contact with Tyler Rhodes' McLaren. If he had contact, there might be a little bit of wing damage there. That might have some adverse handling effects on the car, obviously. But could the advantage go to Jay Drawbridge? If Sinclair does have damage, could Drawbridge close that gap and fight his way to the front? And I'm being told by the league president, Cameron Weston Edwards, that Rhodes, or any driver for that matter, would have to complete 90% of a race in order for the car to collect points. So there will be no points awarded for Tyler Rhodes and the second McLaren today. And whatever problem it looked like Sinclair might have run into is not going to be a problem, as he is now pulled back out over Jay Drawbridge 5.5 seconds, and you see Sinclair is closing down to Alexander Bastos, who's going to be a lap car. And a 3-second time penalty is picked up for Brandon Glover. Glover, who's actually closed the gap down to Gabriel Ryan for the battle for 6th. 3-second time penalty might be an issue. Not sure if Ryan has picked up any time penalties today, but this battle looks like it's starting to materialize here in the closing stages of this race. Glover now to less than a second between him and Gabriel Ryan, so he'll have the DRS advantage. You see the slot opens there on the rear wing. Down the dog leg straightaway. Glover still trying to close that gap. He's now within half a second. But with the 3-second time penalty, we've seen time penalties being issued a number of times this year at some of the other tracks. We talked about Negwer earlier at Mexico, where he finished second and was subsequently dropped to 5th because of 18 seconds worth of time penalties that race. Same thing could happen here. Glover could make this pass, and time penalty could knock him back. He also had the 5-spot grid penalty from qualifying, so that hasn't helped his day. Glover needs to be smart about where he wants to make his move. Should really save it for this run down the short straightaway here. Get the DRS advantage. Slot open. To the inside. And he's going to make it stick. No! Gabriel Ryan had to cut the chicane. Goes back to the outside. Hands the position back over. Now they're side by side. And oh! They're touching and rubbing just a little bit. Gabriel Ryan now should have the DRS advantage. The next DRS engagement zone. And I know this is not the race that Gabriel Ryan wanted to have. He came into this race with a lot of momentum and back-to-back podium finishes, finishing 3rd in China at round 11 and 3rd in round 12 in Sochi. The back-to-back podiums for him, but definitely not what he wants today. Why are we looking at the back of the car? I'll never understand. And he's losing a little bit of ground now to Brandon Glover for that 6th spot. So, not the day Gabriel Ryan was looking forward to, I'm sure. He struggled in qualifying. He had said how slow he was with his qualifying pace. Still under a second, so he'll have the DRS advantage here in the front straightaway. He's not going to be close enough, I don't think, to make a move. Got the DRS slot open again. Still not close enough. Glover is able to just get his car to roll through the corners, it looks like, a little bit better. Get the power back down, separate that gap just enough that the DRS is not really an advantage. If anything at this point, as opposed to the DRS gaining time on the car in front, really the DRS here is more like you're not going to lose any more time to the car in front as long as you do things in that second. A little bit of a lock up there, looked like from Ryan, right front heading into that corner. Now Ryan is starting to lose touch with Brandon Glover. Glover is now out to over a second gap. So he would be no DRS advantage for Gabriel Ryan. And nothing has changed at the top of the chart. Darren Sinclair is still your leader, followed by Jay Drawbridge, followed by Aaron Collingwood, followed by Felix Negwer, Samuel Nazar, Brandon Glover, Gabriel Ryan, Sondre Sorhaug, and Alexander Bastos. So the only thing any of these drivers can hope for at this point to gain any more position would be to fall under some misfortune of either weather, a mistake, puncture. See, Darren Sinclair's got 19 laps on his softs. Run them to 20 to 28. Looks like we've got a caution in Sector 2. Not sure who that would be. Must have been a quick on-off. 5-second stop-and-go penalty for Sondre Sorhaug for corner cutting. And it looks like Sondre might be struggling a little bit. And he just got passed by Alexander Bastos, as Bastos is going to let Drawbridge go by. And Gabriel Ryan just picked up another 3-second time penalty for corner cutting. And Sondre, looks like Sondre's got some wing damage on the left front, so he must have been the caution in Sector 2. He is well off the pace. He'll have to pit for the 5-second stop-and-go penalty and obviously get a new wing change. Throw some fresh tires on it. So Sondre's day is not going the way he would like, I'm sure. All right, we look out the back of Darren Sinclair, who's now gapped Jay Drawbridge to the tune of 6.5 seconds. See the Force India there, that's Alexander Bastos. That is not a battle for position. Bastos is a lap down in comparison to Drawbridge and Sinclair. He is currently running in the 8th position. Unfortunately, there is no close battles on track right now as the laps wind down. Pick up Felix Negwer. We talked about him earlier today. Another 4th place finish for him. I'm sure he was hoping that he could definitely get some more points on the board than what 4th is going to bring him with Jack Hoyle being out. And with the possibility of the championship battle coming down to himself and Jay Drawbridge, if Hoyle does decide to leave IRL for the remaining of the year, we're round 13. We're just over halfway through the season. Round 11 in China would have been the halfway mark, essentially, with the 21 race calendar. So we still have Bahrain, Belgium, Azerbaijan, Australia, Monaco, Hockenheim, Suzuka, and Interlagos left to go in the season. And 3-second time penalty for Brandon Glover. And Glover is actually closing the gap down to his teammate Samuel Nazar, the closing stages of this race. Nazar, who's put in a really good run today, to work his way into 5th. Does Nazar give way to his teammates? Knowing that Glover is definitely and obviously higher in the championship point standings than Nazar himself. Because as it stands, Glover's not mathematically out of the championship point standings as far as the potential for the championship, but it would need nothing short of a sheer miracle for the remainder of the season for him to be champion. But every point helps, and every position will help, especially with the 3-second time penalties that he's incurred over the last couple laps. So Glover almost down to a second on his teammate to try and get that DRS advantage. I'm going to pick up Jay Drawbridge real quick here because Drawbridge has still got Alexander Bastos behind him. I believe Drawbridge is probably struggling with tire grip right now. Sondre Sorhaug just set the fastest lap of the race at a 1:37.212, which literally means nothing in this game. But Drawbridge is, I think he's probably fine with finishing in second at this point. 29 of 31 to go. But he's been running these tires. He's a pad driver. He's 10 seconds off the pace. So I think he's struggling with grip. We're going to pick up Brandon Glover. He's now within half a second of his teammate. And his teammate does let him by. A little bit of a team strategy there, so props to Samuel Nazar. Lets his teammate by. Either he heard me talking about it or he understands that Glover is more in a fight for a championship than himself, so props to him. And now Samuel Nazar's got a 5-second stop-and-go penalty for exceeding the track limits. So that sucks. After doing something nice, you get called out for it. Sondre Sorhaug just picked up a 3-second time penalty as well. And we're going to pick up Darren Sinclair, putting his stamp on the IRL season. He's had a commanding performance today. The opening couple of laps were a little hectic. He lost the lead early on at the start, retook it a few corners later, and Jay Drawbridge was nose to tail with him for most of the opening stint, but after that, and the virtual safety car, that was it. Darren Sinclair has pretty much walked away with what should easily be a win as he starts lap 31 of 31 to wind down this race. So he'll get the pole position, he'll get the win. He won't get the Grand Slam, though, as I don't think he's going to get the fastest lap. That credit's going to go to Sondre Sorhaug. Sondre has made it a habit of trying to set fastest laps this year. Usually finds himself with some sort of misfortune towards the end of the race, and usually towards the end of the points. Felix Negwer just picked up a time penalty. That'll probably be inconsequential to his finishing order, but time penalties have been an issue a couple times this year for some of the other finishers. But Darren Sinclair definitely putting his stamp on IRL with this race. A very commanding lead, very commanding race. Set an unbelievable time in qualifying, and is showing that he can definitely be a force to be reckoned with here in the second half of this season. And I think the big thing here is that he has taken points away today from Jay Drawbridge. Jay Drawbridge, had Sinclair not been a factor, Drawbridge would be walking away with this win and closing that points gap ever so slightly to Jack Hoyle, who isn't here today. So Sinclair, a little bit of a spoiler, coming in here and taking this win away, which could have been so detrimental to Drawbridge's season. But we see Sinclair come across the line, pick up his first IRL win after picking up his first IRL pole here in Singapore. The fireworks going off. Here comes Jay Drawbridge. He'll come across the line to pick up another podium finish and try and close in that points gap. Aaron Collingwood going to be picking up his 6th podium of the year. Collingwood trying to stay in contention for that championship points battle as well. Props to Collingwood. Felix Negwer trying to keep himself relevant in the fight as well. Comes home 4th. Brandon Glover with a recovery drive after having a 5-spot grid penalty starting in 12th. He qualified 7th. He'll come home 5th. He'll be followed by his teammate Samuel Nazar in the other Mercedes. Gabriel Ryan's day did not go the way he wanted it to. He'll come home 6th. And actually, that was a 6th place finish because of the time penalties. He actually came home 7th. But there's Darren Sinclair. Look at him, top of the podium. Only joined the league a couple rounds ago, and already making a name for himself as a very fast driver. He was 4th last time out at Sochi, fought for the lead. This time he's able to hold off Jay Drawbridge, who's been a power hitter this year. So good for him. And Collingwood and Drawbridge both closed the points gap down to Jack Hoyle just by a little bit. Hoyle's got a pretty substantial lead in the championship. And here's your official finishing order After the time penalties have been assessed, Darren Sinclair with the win, Jay Drawbridge second, Aaron Collingwood is third, Felix Negwer fourth, Brandon Glover is fifth, Gabriel Ryan gets moved up to sixth because of the time penalties, Samuel Nazar is seventh, Alexander Bastos comes home eighth, Sondre Sorhaug is ninth, and those are going to be all of the points paying positions today. Tyler Rhodes' car is 10th, but he did not compete in 90% of the laps himself. He will get awarded no points. Louis Quinlan crashed out, Jorge Correa, Lee Kelly. And that rounds out your 13 drivers today at the Singapore Grand Prix. So again, be sure to check us out online for the updated points table, which will be updated come Monday or Tuesday this coming week. International Racing League-IRL.com. And be sure to check us out online, YouTube again, next week for F2 and F1 as we head to Bahrain. F2 will be on Saturday, 11:30 Eastern Standard Time here in the U.S. Sunday it'll be the F1 League at 11:15. And be sure to like, subscribe, and comment to the YouTube pages. And be sure to go online to check out the point standings for F1 and F2. And be sure to look forward to more upcoming videos of the Gran Turismo Sport League. They just wrapped up Group 3. They're going to be starting Group 4 in the next couple months. So be sure to look forward to that as well. Tune in next week, same bat time, same bat channel. We'll catch you at the next round.